Welcome. I'd like you now to participate in a thought exercise. So there's no real need for the visual, but some of you like to have a visual, but I would suggest for this you close your eyes. I would like you to picture the Great Pyramid of Giza. We use that as the example, but it can be any pyramid. But in your mind, I wish you to turn that pyramid upside down. So the base of the pyramid is at the top, the point is at the bottom. Now, with your eyes closed, it's going to be far easier to do. Can you picture an inverted pyramid? Now, look at this, should be appearing in your mind's eye. You've got this picture of an inverted pyramid. Now, is it balanced? Is it on that point and it's just hovering there? Now, can you possibly bring that into the physical reality and create a pyramid that stands on its point? Can you see the point of this deliberate pun? It's not going to be very stable if it's trying to rest on its point. But if I was to get another pyramid and glue the straight edge of the base on one side of one pyramid to that first pyramid, so they're both with the points downwards, it now will prevent that first pyramid from leaning one way or another way, but it obviously won't stop either pyramid from tilting over on the other axis. So I would need to add another pyramid to those two and join them on that baseline. So now I have three, which is a far more stable structure because they are supporting each other. Now, I'm sure that many of you can straight away apply that to the outside world in terms of humanity. So if one physical body is a pyramid, so by supporting with another body, we're helping each other mutually. There is far more to this beyond this thought exercise. Consider the chief cornerstone that is often mentioned, the stone that the builders rejected. What is a cornerstone? Look at the Google definition. It gives you a right angle, so you can build a straight and true course at those angle points and get that perfect 90-degree angle. The cornerstone is also described as the capstone. So why would the cornerstone be a capstone which would be on the top of a pyramid? How can you build like that if the cornerstone is at the top, not one of the foundation stones? If you have this capstone, but then you invert it, so it's now upside down, you've not got one corner, you've now got four corners, and they're all pretty close to the center, and the trajectory, the angle that is formed from that point of that capstone to the corners, to however far out you take those diagonal lines that come from that center point of that capstone to the corners of the base, which is now upside down. You've got basically a V shape if you're seeing from one side. You've got something that is totally imbalanced if it was possible to do it as a physical object that is resting on its point. It's a cornerstone and it is a capstone. So whilst you have a pyramid with a point at the top in this physical reality, It is also showing that this is upside down world in the description of the capstone and the cornerstone being at the top, when really they should be at the bottom. You should work your way down. In other words, you could say that's doing the unthinkable. Because who would think of creating or building a physical pyramid with a capstone at the bottom? It would seem impossible, but we're not talking about the physical world. These are just comparable analogies to use for you to visualize, to explain different things about ourselves, about this reality, about who we truly are. So it's spoken about Apollo and not being a good character. Apollo. Really, the place to pull everybody is not to raise their spirits, not to make them feel good, though ultimately it is. It's to get you to the point of rock bottom. It is to get you to the point where you can find that chief cornerstone, that capstone, that solid foundation upon which you can then rebuild. If you think of how human physiology is described in terms of spiritual, that you are effectively like a tadpole, you were just this brain and this spine. Well, could you balance that tip of that spine, for example? Would the whole thing stand up unless it was supported by a skeletal structure in the case of a physicality? I feel the answer would definitely be no to that. But there's a theme about being upright, about bringing yourself into alignment. But it does require going to the deepest, darkest depths. It does require playing a part of an adversary, of a devil, of a tempter. And just like that capstone, where the four corners are actually pretty close to that center point when the pyramid is inverted, you'll see that things are actually close and they all lead to one, which is the whole point of the capstone. I've shown, or hopefully I've explained in recent videos, about playing all the parts. It's all coming down to a point, just like an inverted pyramid. It is all coming down to see the point and the realization that giants, titans, greys, secret society members, everything and anything that you can look at, you play all the parts, whether knowingly or unknowingly. We're in upside down world, so would it not make sense that we're not looking up there in a physical perspective, we're actually trying to go down there? Consider in the external, what is the fascination with the up there? What's beyond the stars? What's in the far distant galaxies? And is there life here, there, or however many gazillion light years away? Well, what about below your soles of your feet? What is down there? What are you on? Is a saying often used when saying something that most people don't understand. What are you on? Well, I'm asking you, what are you on? We're on something that feels and would appear to be solid, that we call Earth. But is that all of Earth? Do we not breathe air in this Earth? But where is air? Where is wind? Can you see that? How do you know it's even there? This reality is far less apparent and far less transparent than it could be. There's a clue in this in that transparency, in that openness about how we get out of this reality by not actually going anywhere. Because we're in a realm of perceived duality, you have an element called time that most people will see as something negative. But time can be brought on side with the benefits of being able to observe time. You can see, for example, how a newborn baby, although looking very different, over a period of time will look very wrinkled and shriveled up at maybe 80 or 90 years' time from being a day or two old. With time, you see the transformation. So is time such a bad thing? What about having a new relationship with time? What about collapsing time? What about pulling things down to that point? Collapsing time, collapsing everything. I'm not talking about in this external physical world here. There seems to be a lot of confusion. I can use the physical world and the external for comparison to give you more relatable explanations, but keep in mind that I am talking about what's going on in the unseen, what's going on internally, within inside you. I have said that beyond what Jason says on Archaics channel, that the pyramid is not only a mathematical encoding, an encoding of history, a countdown clock, and much more than that, but I'm also saying that it is an architectural representation of physiology. The Great Pyramid has chambers in it, does it not? Is it not expressed about chambers of the heart? Do you not have chambers of commerce? How many uses of the word chambers are there? What does it really mean? It contains ham. It contains ambers, which are embers, which would imply a fire that's gone out. So the very implication of where that could go is about talking about a phoenix rising from the ashes, spreading out, going from the point of the inverted pyramid in 4 directions and radiating outwards, expanding, referencing also Jupiter, about expansion of consciousness. Again, look at the material world. When things are taken literally and manifest into the physical, take a general cross-section of people around you. How many of them have expanded waistlines, as opposed to how many have an expanded consciousness? That, I feel, is enough of a meal for this video, so I'm going to stop this one here until the next one, and then we'll carry on and we'll talk about the same thing from a different perspective, which will all build to a bigger picture. Once again, unconditional love to you all.